Hey everybody, welcome back. Not too many more of these hotel videos. I'm heading home in a couple days, and then I'm heading to Norway in not too long, so I'm hoping to do a bunch of videos from Norway, my homeland. Tack för sist, välkommen tillbaka. That means thank you for the last time and welcome back. It's gonna be so fun to be able to talk Norwegian a lot more. I just don't get a lot of opportunities. I do sometimes with my parents, but not nearly enough. And so I'm excited to bone up on my Norwegian again, kind of get it back where it should be. So today, this is probably a bit of a touchy subject for some people. And I really am not trying to offend anybody by this. That's never my goal. I'm a straightforward guy. I say what I think. I try to keep it pretty cordial on these videos. I don't swear a lot. It's not like I'm a saint. I do swear, but I'm not like a sailor. I don't just throw F-bombs around constantly, but I try to keep these videos where if, your kid happens to watch them with you, hopefully you don't have to worry. And if I do a video where I'm a little concerned that maybe, like I did a rant a couple of weeks ago, and I warned everybody at the beginning that I was pretty angry about what I was talking about. So beware. I don't think this is that, but it's a touchy subject. And going into this video, I want you to know that I understand that in this profession, there are lots of good people in this profession, but there are a lot of quacks. And I don't just know that from my own experience. I know that from a lot of people I know. What's the profession, you say? Let's get into it. Therapy. Listen, I grew up in a generation where you dealt with your problems. Maybe you talked to your buddy about them. I'm not saying people should hold their stuff in and never talk to anybody. There are definitely places in time in life where a good therapist could be very helpful. The problem is, I think there are a lot of really bad ones. And I'm not trying to impugn. Sorry, I had to make sure that wasn't my truck horn that was going off. I'm not trying to impugn a whole profession. Like I said, I know there are good therapists out there. What's my experience with it? Not a ton, but some. Like I said, I've never been big on it. I've known quite a few people that did a lot of therapy, and if anything, it made things worse. Even when they thought that it was helping them. From the outside, people looking in were like, this is not good. They're just enabling, which I think a lot of them do. Now, a good therapist, I think, is going to push back up against you. They're not just going to go along with you. Now, here's a quick story, anecdote, because I don't want to get specific on who this was. But somebody that I was close to, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to tell the story. Because I am friends with this person, and when I was married before, our marriage it had its moments where it was great. We actually had a lot of fun together, my ex-wife and I. We were good friends before we got married, and then we started dating, and I knew right off the bat that, we're not really cohesive. We don't really go together. She's cool. I like her. She was gorgeous. But I knew off the start, but growing up in the Mormon religion and being 25 years old at the time, they made you feel like you were an old man. And I felt like I was doing something wrong. So I kind of felt pressured, and I think she did too. And, we ended up married for 5.5 years. And there were lots of good times, but there were lots of rough patches. And I don't mean like abusive or anything like that. We didn't mesh. We had very different ideas of what the world should be. part of it was I didn't really want to be Mormon, and she kind of wanted to be. She went back and forth on that, but we went to some counseling. I didn't want to go. Like I told you, it's not my thing. But I went to try to save the marriage, and we talked to church leaders within the Mormon church, and one of the things that consistently happened was, this is probably going to bite me in the ass, but so be it. I still care about her. I think she's a good person, so please know that up front. But she wanted to hear what she wanted to hear, that it was my fault, and part of it definitely was my fault. Part of it was her fault too. It takes two to tango. And I took all of that on myself. I took it all on. And for a couple of years, even after we got divorced, I was like, it was all my fault. It was all my fault. And then people that I knew and loved started saying, hey, you know, I was there a lot, and it wasn't all you. And we split fairly amicably. You know, we had a 4-year-old daughter when we got divorced, but she did not like hearing that maybe this thing could be saved and maybe we should work harder at it. She never liked hearing that. She wanted her side to be reinforced. And if she didn't get that, then she would look to somebody else. And I don't blame her for that. That's human nature. You want to hear that what you're doing and what you're feeling is right. I wanted to hear that too. But I was also willing to just say, all right, whatever, it's my fault. Let's move on. I don't feel that way anymore. I definitely feel partly responsible, but I also think she was partly responsible. And so cat's out of the bag. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass, but it's okay. If this story gets back to her, I stand behind it. I respect her. She's the mother of my daughter, and we're friends. So hopefully it can stay that way. We don't actually see each other a whole lot anymore, but you know, my daughter's 35 years old now, so there's not a ton of occasions we get together. Grandkids' birthday here and there, and it's cool. We seem to respect each other. She's a good person. Enough said. Let's move on from that one. I know somebody else, and I am going to keep this one very vague because this would bite me in the butt. This person has gone to therapy, I'm not even going to say the gender, basically their whole life. And they only want to hear what they want to hear. They want to be told that they're right and everybody else is wrong. Literally, and I'm not exaggerating there. And this person has found therapists that just reinforce their point of view. Period. They don't ever push back on this person, which has made things really rough for, I gotta be so careful here, for relationships in their life. It has pushed people away to their detriment, to the other people's detriment, because it's not doable. You as the other person have to be willing to say, you're right, I'm wrong, period. Your way is the right way. And if you offend me, I got to take that. But if I offend you, then I'm a horrible person. Literally. And I'm not exaggerating even a little bit. If anything, I'm underplaying it. This person will tell you that you're wrong, you're offending them, and that makes you wrong. But if you say, well, you did blah, 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 which offended and hurt me, it's buck up. That's not a problem. And this is not the only experience I've had with this. I have run into lots of people. Okay, lots, that's exaggerating. Several people that seem to just get reinforcement from whoever they're seeing. Now, I know, like I said, that there are good therapists out there that actually hold people accountable and say, I mean, like my last story, you're partly responsible here. I don't know if part of it is just to keep people coming back forever. You know, Woody Allen, the actor, whatever you think of him, he's gone to therapy for 60 years, 70 years. And he came out, I don't know, not quite a few years ago, but not 40 years ago, saying, and I don't have the quote, so I can't quote him exactly, but basically saying it's just been a waste. Therapy to me should be, you go for a while. I know people in my life that could probably benefit from a good therapist. And so the people that are good therapists and actually have their patients slash clients slash customers best needs in mind when they're trying to help them is a big deal. I hold somebody like that way up here because I know some people that definitely could benefit from a really good therapist that's caring, but is also willing to hold the person accountable and not just say, no, you're right and they're wrong. I heard a statistic today. This is why I'm doing this video. I should have started with this. 25% of Americans have a family member that they're completely estranged from. A big part of that is there are so many therapists that will say that person's toxic, you need to disown them, you need to disown your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters. And it's insanity to me. Now, of course, there are instances. I've had instances in my own life with people close to me that had to distance themselves from close people to them. It was toxic. But everything is not toxic in this world. That word gets so overused in today's society, it drives me freaking crazy. Masculine toxicity. I can't even say it. This is toxic. That's toxic. I need to get them out of my life because they're toxic. Bull crap. Most things are not that. Most things are a two-way street and you can figure things out. I've had lots of differences with lots of people really close to me. My wife and I have a really good marriage. It's not perfect. We have times where we clash and we work it out. We talk it out. And not including a therapist. I am not judging anybody that uses a therapist. I'm just saying be careful because like I said, I just can't get into tons of detail, but I know of lots of people that have not benefited from it and they think they are benefiting from it. And it's hurting their lives and their relationships. And I've known people that have just pushed their whole family away, their whole friend group. It's everybody else's fault except theirs. And I'm sure I'm going to get some pushback on this video, and that's okay. I'm putting it out there, so bring it on. I can take it. Like I said, I'm old school. I grew up in a small, Norway, and then a small town in Canada where we razzed each other a lot as friends. We gave each other the business. And it's funny, I was just watching 2.5 Men, and Michael Clark Duncan, you remember him from The Green Mile? He sadly passed away, huge dude. And the guy from What's Your Line Anyway, he plays Herb Melnick, and they're all sitting around and just razzing each other. And he's like, I just love giving each other the biz. That's what we did. We had thick skin because we gave it to each other, always in a loving way. But if you were not part of that, and that's part of the problem with my first marriage, is I was used to that. She was used to something completely different. And like I said, not abusive, nothing like that. It's just very different personalities. And so if something was wrong, we would just talk it out as friends. And I don't want to make it a man-woman thing, but in my experience in life, I feel like men are more willing to tell each other what's going on and talk it out and fix it. And women, not all women, my wife certainly doesn't, hold it in more as a generality. And of course, I'm not saying everybody. I've just, if somebody asks me, Do you have a problem with me right now? What's going on? Is something going on? If I do have a problem, I'm going to say, yeah. And I'll try and be nice and polite and cordial about it and talk it out. Sometimes, well, it always works. Like I said, I've talked about this in a past video. I'm not going to go through it again. I've never had a friend in my life that isn't still a friend, unless, well, if they passed away, I still consider them my friend. I might not see them because they live 1,000 miles away, but we're still friends. Until relatively recently, some really good friends, it just fell apart. And it was bizarre to me, and it was so foreign to me because that's just never happened to me in my life. Things should have been talked out long before it fell apart. I did many times try to talk things out, but some people just don't want to hear it. So then there's not much you can do. But I think it's really important. I'm not saying hold all your crap in and don't talk to somebody. And if a therapist works for you, fantastic. That's awesome. I wish there weren't so many that push everybody in your life is toxic and it's everybody else's fault. You know what? I try to take responsibility for my own crap. The things I did wrong in my first marriage, I own up to. There are things I could have done better. My marriage now, which is going on 30 years and it's awesome, I try. Sometimes it takes me a couple days to admit, okay, I was wrong here. But I try to always, in fact, I do think I always do it. Sometimes it might take me an hour, sometimes it might take me a couple days. I'm a stubborn Norwegian. So, anyway, let me know your thoughts. Before I forget, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following, thumbs up, likes, whatever, comments. I dig, sharing. I really appreciate it. Probably got myself, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what you think. I think some of you are going to agree with me and some of you are probably going to push back, and that's okay. As long as it's respectful, I'll probably respond to me. I'll probably respond to you, excuse me. If you're a jerk about it, odds are I won't. I don't respond back like, oh, you're an a-hole or something like that. I just ignore it. There's only one person that's ever been commenting on these videos that I pushed back a little against. I just had enough because there were so many comments. But those of you that disagree with me, I have no problem with that. Bring it on. I understand my view of the world is not everybody's view of the world. It'd be a boring place if we were all exactly the same. So anyway, I'm excited. A couple more days I get to go home and then start preparing for a trip, and I'm so excited. I just got off the phone with my youngest son who's headed back down to home in Vegas. He went home for a few days to visit. I wish I could have been there because we're big time golfing buddies, but excited to see my kids, my grandkids, my wife, and gonna go hang out with some friends this weekend. I didn't think I was gonna be home this weekend actually, and I just started this new job and decided, you know what, I can't keep doing these 3-4 week stretches. They're just kicking the crap out of me, especially as I get older. I know I can't do what I used to do. By the way, little mini rant here at the end of this video. I'm eligible for Social Security. I don't take it because if you make more than $24,800, I think it is, they start taking $1 back for every $2 you make after that on your Social Security that I paid into for the last 40 years. Bull crap. That needs to be fixed. I should be able to take my check right now, and if I go make $1 million a year, they shouldn't be able to take any of it back. So I'm probably going to wait till I'm 65, 2.5 years. Actually, it's less than 2.5 years now. And I'm planning on retiring then, hopefully before that, but I hate that. We've paid on all this stuff. Why are you taking it back? It's crap. So just a little mini rant at the end. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Tack för denna gång, men snackas igen snart. Allt för Olga. I appreciate y'all so much. Even if you disagree with me, I still dig it. Thanks so much. Have a great night, everybody. What is it? I don't even know what day it is. I think it's Tuesday, July 21st. Maybe. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because, yeah, okay. Have a good day. Have a great night. Peace. Love.